are here streaming live from RSAC 2023. It is awesome to be back with you here at Moscone West. We will be here all week, Monday through Thursday, streaming these awesome conversations live. Right now, I am here with Eyal Benishti. He's the CEO of IronScales. Welcome. It's great to see you. We're kicking this off together, you and I.
It's great to be here.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about your company, IronScales, what you do, and what you're doing here at RSAC.
So IronScales is about 9 years old, started back in Tel Aviv with the mission to help organizations fight email phishing and email security in general. We started the company with the mission to put human in the center of cybersecurity because there were so many kind of like different solution and vendors out there really focusing only on the technical element and the technical aspects of fighting phishing and fighting cyber in general, that we decided that we want to create a more hybrid, kind of blended solution that brings human and AI and put it in the same platform in an integrated way to provide with a better solution to the phishing problem.
Okay. That's so often the human element. So often the human element is the weakest link, right? You can have all the technology and all of the cool, shiny new things, and someone clicks on a link and it's all over. So how do you meld the human insight with the technological aspects of it?
So the way we approach it is the kind of the mission that we took on ourselves is how you take something that is traditionally being considered as, like you said, the weakest link, and how do we make it an active, integral part in the company security posture. And the idea was that instead of kind of looking at people as the ones that normally click on phishing or open attachment and stuff like that, they can be actually the ones that can detect and report back to the organization on the stuff that is slipping through the current defenses. I think that everyone knows that there is no perfect solution out there. We will never be able to build something that can just magically stop all the phishing email right at the gate. So it was very important for us to build this layer, to educate this layer, to give them the skill set and the mindset to report back to the organization when they see something suspicious. And from that point on, we know how to take it and we know what to do with it. With the human insights that you just mentioned, we know how to collect it, we know how to analyze it, we know how to respond to threats based on what they're reporting back to us. Right. And we're doing all of these kind of things in real time, in a self-learning kind of manner where the machine is learning from the human, but the machine is also helping the human or augmenting the human experience in order to provide the human with better kinds of insights, in order to make better decisions faster.
Right. You're taking the weakest link and turning it into the first line of defense, almost.
With a little help, yeah.
With a little help, right. There's a lot of talk throughout the industry about generative AI, and ChatGPT is on everyone's lips. And is that the kind of thing that you're talking about here when you say self-learning and that augmentation?
Yeah, I think ChatGPT and generative AI in general is something that the industry is still trying to wrap their hand around.
Yeah.
We understand that, and even before GPT, we saw a tremendous kind of shift in the threat landscape from email phishing being this bad link or bad attachment to email phishing being this fake invoice, fake wire request, go buy me this, go do that. So I like to say that they kind of shifted from trying to hack the user and the endpoint of the user to hack the business process and trying to social engineer people to do something that they're not supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Obviously with AI and the potential AGI that is coming, everything will just be on steroids. Threat actors will just be able to create agents and say, hey, go and phish this company for you. Go and do research on all their employees on the internet, all the social media, and come up with the best phishing kind of scenario for each individual in the organization. So it's not just going to increase the risk, the potential risk, because believe it or not, ChatGPT can write brilliant phishing emails, no grammar and no syntax mistake. It's going to be no more the Nigerian kind of scam type of typos and stuff like that. But the volume is going to create a
Yeah.
serious operational problem to security teams, because they will not be able to attend to each and one of the phishing emails that are being detected or reported, and therefore the importance of basically leveraging AI on the defensive side,
Right.
to the point that, I believe that in 2024 we'll see a lot of AI versus AI type of dogfights out there.
Yeah.
And still the human element will be there to detect, stop,
Yeah.
report the stuff that the AI is missing, but hopefully we'll be able to match the volume of the offenders by applying the right type of AI on the defensive side.
Yeah, it's an arms race, right? On both sides, and each is escalating, and it's incredible.
We need to keep the symmetry, because it can easily turn into an asymmetric kind of
Right.
situation where the threat actors are armed with a lot of, again, free AI-based agent that can just go and do the stuff.
Right. That's where you guys come in.
Exactly.
So another thing that's been in the news lately are, and I believe you touched on this a little bit, was business email compromise attacks, BEC. And I know IronScales has some new stuff coming out specifically to counter BEC attacks. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? And
Yeah, I think that with BEC, again, one of the interesting things is that what is malicious about BEC is not necessarily the content, it's not the link or the attachments, but it's the intent. Like, someone is trying to convince someone inside the organization to do something he's not supposed to.
Right.
So when there is no clear, what we call in our industry, indication of compromise, when I look at an incoming email and the IP seems legit and there is no bad link or bad attachment, you know what? In most of the cases, there are no links and attachment in
Right.
this email, but it's just someone asking someone to do something. Then it's a whole different ballgame. Then it's all kind of into the point that, can we understand intent? Can we understand the individual and how to protect the individual? Do we know his history, his communication habits, communication style, his social kind of graph of interaction?
Connections and
Can we extrapolate it on the company level? Do we now understand who this company is working with, who they are paying with, to, when, and answer all these kind of contextual questions that are not necessarily, that are very different from the questions that we used to ask ourselves yesterday, which is this link known to be bad, or is this attachment known to be?
Right.
So it's a very, very different situation. This is why
Yeah.
BC has become such a big problem for organization, because traditional solutions, legacy solutions, were not designed to stop this type of attacks.
Yeah.
And a new set of technologies like IronScales were built in order to basically be able to answer, maybe this email is not bad, but this email is actually a good email
Right.
in the context of this mailbox or the context of this organization. And it's a very interesting problem to solve, a very
Yeah.
challenging problem to solve, and we are enjoying solving it.
Awesome. And it always seems to me that it's a little better to err on the side of caution. So maybe you get, at first, while the technology's learning, you get a few more cautious, like, all right, maybe take a step back and check this a little more carefully. But then as it learns, then it gets faster and more.
Yeah. In the
More
Israeli army, we used to say, if there is doubt, there is no doubt. So we are taking this kind of more
Right.
extreme kind of approach, as you mentioned. And if we are not 100% sure that the email should stay in the inbox, at the very least, we will flag it to the user, because we really believe in the user, and we really believe that if we talk to a user in a human reader, in a human kind of, in a layman kind of term,
Right.
they will be able to help us stop the attack. So if an email landed in your inbox and we're not 100% sure that it's bad, but we are not 100% sure that it's good, we'll tell you, hey, Sharon, there is something fishy about this email. We are not sure enough, our conviction level is not high enough to move it away from for your inbox. But please take a look at this and that.
Okay.
Like we know that you're getting emails from Eyal Benishti every Thursday, and you're working with IronScales. But this time it's coming from Eyal Benishti with a typo, and it's coming from a Gmail. We don't associate this address with the other. So again, we will take these kind of behavioral elements and what we know about you and our
Right.
communication in order to ask you to provide some more insights on this type of communication, so the machine can learn
Right.
whether it should trust it or not in the future.
Okay. Awesome. Or keynotes that you're looking forward to.
yeah, what do you see? What are the triangles? Or what? How do you approach this and that? This is where we learn a lot, and we learn from them. And believe it or not, they're the ones that are fighting this fight every day on many different fronts. We are very focused on email security, but they're always helping us to broaden our horizons. It's conversations with CISOs that kind of help us decide that we want to move from or expand from email to collaboration tools protection. So we're adding Microsoft Teams and we're adding Slack protection as well.
Awesome.
So it's conversation like that with people like that that really help us kind of to shape the future of the company, the roadmap of the product, and help them secure their environments.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, folks. We've got tons of great conversations all day, Monday through Thursday, here at RSAC 2023. Stay tuned. I'm Sharon Florentine. Thank you so much, Eyal. It was great to talk to you.
Same here.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too. everybody, welcome back. I am Sharon Florentine, Managing Editor here at Techstrong Group, home of Security Boulevard. We are streaming to you live from RSAC 2023 here in Moscone West. I am joined by Connie Stack, who is the CEO of Next DLP. Welcome. It is great to be here with you, Connie. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You bet. You bet.
Thank you.
So you have been at Next since August of 2022. How's that been going? What have you been working on?
It's really been, it's been great, first and foremost, to make the move from marketing. I grew up in marketing, was the CMO most of my career in tech, and making that shift to CEO was an important and big one for me, so I wanted to make sure it was the right company, and it certainly is. We have an incredible team, incredible technology, and really doing a lot of interesting things to disrupt what the legacy data loss prevention space. So it's been going fantastic. Built my leadership team, brought in some people that were familiar to me from my days at Digital Guardian and beyond in the past. So we really started our go-to-market in earnest in January. So yeah, very, very excited about that. Built the foundation in the fall. Go-to-market is effectively, up and running, and we're doing some cool things, signing up some new great customers. So we're excited about the prospects. And what we're doing really is focusing on building a next generation approach to data protection in general. And we're doing that by combining insider risk as well as some of the traditional capabilities of data loss prevention.
So you mentioned disrupting DLP. Can you talk a little bit about the legacy DLP space and the challenges there and how you are coming at those and disrupting them?
Definitely. No, and it is interesting, right? And I can speak really from experience here, right? I spent 8 years at what was then Vertisys. I rebranded that as CMO into Digital Guardian. They were acquired by Help Systems, now rebranded to Fortra. So I'm very, very familiar with the legacy space. And it is, the challenge with legacy is it is what it is. It's older technology that was built for a different time, candidly. Now, I would never imply that legacy vendors have stood still, because they haven't, but they're building new capability on legacy or older technology, or literally an older code base. So it's very easy to get stuck in break-fix mode and not be innovating. So that's the difference, and that's why I was excited when I joined Next, because it's a brand new piece of technology, 2 years old, built on the most contemporary software out there, cloud only, Elasticsearch, Kafka, like all the cool stuff that's out there. Really built for a modern distributed enterprise versus, again, legacy technology that was built when we worked very differently. We went to offices, we had the additional protections of the network. I mean, I hate to say it, and I know, Sharon, you've been in this business for a while too, but the technologies were built, frankly, under the we're all using password lockers in our personal lives as well as our professional lives. So we have an end user, I think that's really smart, and Next builds upon that. We take that end user and we want to help you build your cybersecurity army based on your team on the ground. They're your front lines, so we want to equip them for success when it comes to protecting your data. We do that using prompts, real-time training at the point of risk when somebody might be doing something they shouldn't be to their data, I suppose.
I was saying to someone earlier that you're taking what a lot of people consider to be the weakest link and really turning them into that first line of defense.
Absolutely. And it is cool. I think it's really cool to see that trend. I mean, you hear human-centric a fair bit now, and I think that is an important trend, because as our end users are getting smarter, they understand, and they're less susceptible to ransomware attacks and phishing and all that sort of stuff. They're just smarter. Not saying it's impenetrable, but certainly it's nice to see technology say, hey, we're going to enlist the user to be a part of the solution and not consider them a piece of the problem.
So you have a not very traditional background for someone who's reached where you are in cybersecurity. Can you talk a little bit about that and your journey to where you are now?
Absolutely. Credit card, a Visa credit card with PNC National Bank at the time, and it was the first time I ever got my hands on data. And I was like, holy cow, like I was judged on how pretty a billboard was, and now all of a sudden I had data. I knew what my customers were doing. I knew how they were, traversing the mall. I knew what they were purchasing. I was just completely enamored with it. And from there, I made the leap to go work for the company that built the database that drove our credit card program. So loved tech, stayed in it, was on the sales and marketing side for most of my career, but have always been in executive leadership. I've often been the lone woman at a table, surrounded by men. But really, I was welcomed into technology. I was welcomed into cybersecurity, and like I said, really, really enjoyed it. So did the sales and marketing side, always in executive management, and then made the leap into the to the CEO seat.
Okay. How does that change your approach to hiring, especially in cybersecurity, where we talk a lot about the skills gap and the lack of people coming in to fill all of these roles that need to be filled? Do you actively seek out folks with backgrounds similar to yours, or
we do our very best to do that? The reality is, in many cases, there's not a diverse enough pool to pull from, right? So I really believe that to make a change, we've got to go into the grassroots. So we sponsor programs. We did at Digital Guardian with the United Way. I do here at Next today. We work with a couple of companies in the London area. Spark is one of those where we want to get STEM in front of kids when they're young, girls, people of color. It's like anybody. We want to be diverse, but we've got to build that diverse pool. My company definitely tries to appeal to, diverse candidates, but the reality is only so many out there. So I want to go build that pool even more strongly so we have more to pull from in the future.
Awesome.
So we're working with kids, we're working with teens, we're exposing them to cybersecurity, helping them understand what a great career path it is. And by the way, it is millions of unfilled roles, around the world. So so that's why we really go grassroots with this, because we want to grow that base and that funnel of talent, for us in the future.
Fantastic. I know we're kind of early here on the first day of RSA, but what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to seeing? What are your impressions of the show so far?
Yep. Well, it's definitely early, but this has been, I think, when we missed COVID, but 16th year, I think, for me at RSA.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen a lot of change, obviously, at the show. I am excited just to be interacting with people. Since we moved to, remote, and I work remotely, I'm a person who gets a lot of energy from people, so it's just great to be interacting with people. Yeah. So I'm looking forward, honestly, to spending some time, in the booth and getting to interact with security practitioners and just have conversations about, what they care about.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody here that's not curious about AI and how people are, leveraging AI,
right?
ChatGPT plugins in particular, large language models, like all that stuff, that we hear about. Again, generally is going to impact, cybersecurity technology. So we're keenly aware of that. And we just made an announcement as a company that, we introduced some product policies, within the next Reveal platform to enable folks to use AI to be able to understand if folks are using ChatGPT within your environment, are they pasting sensitive data in, like we can see it and help you control it. So that's kind of our first step, but we definitely are exploring and want to do more when it comes to large language models, just to help, because in security, you have to do more with less. There's just too many, there's not enough bodies to do the work.
Right.
So if we can, automate, use AI to make it smarter, to make your job faster, that's kind of what we're aiming to do. So I'm really, really keen to visit other booths and other, other vendors and other players to see how they're going about leveraging, like I said, more AI, more large language models.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming here and hanging out with us this morning. We really appreciate it. And folks, stay tuned. We got plenty more conversations here. We are here all week, Monday through Thursday at RSAC 2023. I'm Sharon Florentine. See you soon.
ContainerJournal.com is the leading online destination for centralized computing-related content. ContainerJournal.com covers all aspects of software containers, from container management, data management for containers, container security, networking for containers, to the entire container ecosystem, Kubernetes, microservices, serverless, and more. ContainerJournal.com has the largest selection of container-related news, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.containerjournal.com to learn more. containerjournal.com DevOps.com is the #1 online destination for DevOps education and community building. DevOps.com covers all aspects of DevOps, including DevOps best practices and tools, DevOps culture, DevSecOps, business impact, continuous testing, continuous delivery, and more. DevOps.com has the largest collection of original DevOps content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.devops.com to learn more. DevOps.com, where the world meets DevOps. SecurityBoulevard.com is the leading resource for news, analysis, and education on challenges facing the cybersecurity industry. SecurityBoulevard.com covers all aspects of cybersecurity, including data security, DevSecOps, cloud security, application security, network security, security threats, and more. SecurityBoulevard.com has the largest selection of security content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.securityboulevard.com to learn more. SecurityBoulevard.com, home of Security Bloggers Network.
Discover the cutting-edge insights of our new show, AI Times, a series that explores the limitless potential of artificial intelligence. Sponsored by the AI Infrastructure Alliance, the AI Times is at the forefront of the AI revolution, tackling the crucial questions of how we can leverage AI for the betterment of humanity. Stay ahead of the curve as this show delves into all things surrounding AI, including trends, pressing concerns, and the positive impact AI is making around the globe. AI Times. Your DevOps adventure starts here. At DevOps On-Ramp 23, you'll find everything you need to get started with DevOps. Best practices, processes, and tools. Tips and tricks from experienced practitioners sharing their real-world experiences. This virtual event will provide you with the roadmap to a successful DevOps career and the opportunity to get hands-on experience. The rush has started. Don't be left behind. Join us on May 4th, 2023.
Hiring great DevOps and cyber talent is a huge challenge for technical teams. Cloud transformation is driving demand higher. You've tried doing it yourself. Job boards, LinkedIn, didn't work. Recruiters are an option, but who do you trust and not waste your time and money? Recruit Ops is the new way to source engineering talent. From Media Ops, the people behind DevOps.com, Security Boulevard, Container Journal, and more. We sit right in the middle of the hottest positions in Dev, Sec, and Ops, and the brightest minds in the field. If you're looking for a great position or the talent to fill it, we can help you. Trust us, risk-free.
ContainerJournal.com is the leading online destination for centralized computing-related content. ContainerJournal.com covers all aspects of software containers, from container management, data management for containers, container security, networking for containers, to the entire container ecosystem, Kubernetes, microservices, serverless, and more. ContainerJournal.com has the largest selection of container-related news, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.containerjournal.com to learn more. DevOps.com is the #1 online destination for DevOps education and community building. DevOps.com covers all aspects of DevOps, including DevOps best practices and tools, DevOps culture, DevSecOps, business impact, continuous testing, continuous delivery, and more. DevOps.com has the largest collection of original DevOps content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.devops.com to learn more. ContainerJournal.com is the leading online destination for centralized computing-related content. ContainerJournal.com covers all aspects of software containers, from container management, data management for containers, container security, networking for containers, to the entire container ecosystem, Kubernetes, microservices, serverless, and more. ContainerJournal.com has the largest selection of container-related news, featuring breaking news, blog posts. ContainerJournal.com is the leading online destination for centralized computing-related content. ContainerJournal.com covers all aspects of software containers, from container management, data management for containers, container security, networking for containers, to the entire container ecosystem, Kubernetes, microservices, serverless, and more. ContainerJournal.com has the largest selection of container-related news, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.containerjournal.com to learn more. ContainerJournal.com is the leading online destination for centralized computing-related content. ContainerJournal.com covers all aspects of software containers, from container management, data management for containers, container security. ContainerJournal.com is the leading online destination for centralized computing-related content. ContainerJournal.com covers all is the #1 online destination for DevOps education and community building. DevOps.com covers all aspects of DevOps, including DevOps best practices and tools, DevOps culture, DevSecOps, business impact, continuous testing, continuous delivery, and more. DevOps.com has the largest collection of original DevOps content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.devops.com to learn more. DevOps.com, where the world meets DevOps. SecurityBoulevard.com is the leading resource for news, analysis, and education on challenges facing the cybersecurity industry. SecurityBoulevard.com covers all aspects of cybersecurity, including data security, DevSecOps, cloud security, application collection of security content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.securityboulevard.com to learn more. SecurityBoulevard.com, home of Security Bloggers Network.
Hey, welcome to RSAC 2023. We're here in San Francisco, of course, back at the conference and doing some great interviews, great conversations on Monday, first day. And I have the great pleasure of being joined by Lorelei Catapan, who is actually, we know each other. We just did an event here recently talking about software supply chain security. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you
It's
here.
My pleasure.
Well, introduce yourself and tell folks a little bit about ActiveState.
Okay, so I'm VP of Product at ActiveState. I live and breathe DevOps and DevSecOps. It's what I am very interested in. So at ActiveState, we build technology that just works for developers, focus on developers and AppSec leaders that allows developers to be able to consume and use trusted open source so that they can focus on innovation. And we build basically open source dependencies for you from source using a trusted, reproducible, hermetic environment. And providing the SBOMs and provenance attestations, which is now starting to surface up because of the executive order mandate and so forth. So,
yes, there are some mandates that we all have to pay attention to, even if we're not directly servicing,
right.
Providing services to the government. We usually are to somebody who is. So
exactly.
Kind of the chain of providing secure software. So talk a little bit more, because I really like the approach that you're taking about. It isn't just okaying, like certifying that these are acceptable repositories or images or whatever. You actually take a lot more steps to provide an environment that's provided to people then, as well as making sure open source components are safe.
Right. Well, we know that developers love open source, right? But it's a pain to build from source because of the dependencies and dependency hell, all the way down to your native libraries, and so ActiveState came with that vision of allowing developers to really focus on innovation by just providing them the dependencies, and so it's really shifting more left than what you would consider SCA, software composition analysis tool, allowing developers to be able to pull their dependencies from a trusted catalog, for example, that's vetted out and been built for you, and providing the capability to build the dependencies regardless of how many dependencies that you have. Can be very complex, and so we make that easy for our developers to be able to build secure software.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you actually are before software decomp, right?
Exactly.
Analysis.
Exactly.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Now you come from a development background, right?
I do.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. How long were you a developer?
I would say about 10 years as a developer, right? Focused, believe it or not, I did some Perl and then moved on to C++, and then Java before I got into product management.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, well that's awesome. That was a great background to build from, right? To have that experience and the life of managing software and dependencies and doing updates on software that's not yours, open source. And
right, and it can be super complicated, especially if you're building something across different operating systems, for example, and which is another, I think, secret sauce of our platform is being able to build your dependencies across multiple platforms, whether it's Linux, Microsoft, Windows, or Mac, for example.
In different languages?
In different languages. We currently support Python, Ruby, of course, Perl, and Tcl. So.
Yeah, nice. You had me at Python, so that's my favorite environment. But
and we're seeing a lot of Python developers using data science, for example. So I think that's where we're starting to pick up on and really enhance our catalog with those libraries.
Cool. Now you're one of the premier sponsors of DevOps Connect DevSecOps that Techstrong is hosting over in Moscone South, 308. Head over there if you're not over there already.
Yeah.
So tell us
Please
a little bit about.
by.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us a little bit about why that event fits you really well and that audience fits you well.
Yeah. So our platform really is about securing your application, securing your software, and we
believe we're part of that picture. We're part of that story. There are many different security testing that you do before you actually ship out your software. And that goes all the way from developer all the way to actually doing containerization testing, application testing. But we're at the very first part of your software development lifecycle, where you're really understanding what dependencies that you have before you actually ship it. And we hope to empower developers that way, and eventually, really be able to increase their development cycle and so forth.
Well, that's, you're talking about shifting left. It isn't shifting the burden, the work, to the developer. Matter of fact, the more you can make it a non-work activity, like I know it's sourced from this company, this location, this repository, it's already been checked out.
Exactly.
That's just work the developer doesn't have to do.
That's right.
The easiest thing to get some work done is not to have to do it, right?
Right.
The most productive.
Exactly. And we really empower developers by providing that curated catalog of dependencies that's been built and produced in a way that follows a lot of, for example, the NIST Secure Software Development Framework. And in fact, you might be familiar with SALSA, under the OSSF, stands for Supply Chain Levels of Software Artifacts.
Yep. Good, you got it.
Exactly, right?
It is a bit of a mouthful.
It is very much of a mouthful. And it's still evolving. They just released their 1.0. And it's a framework, and I believe that Active States have been on that tenet since 20 years ago, of really how do you build a build engine or framework or service that prevents man in the middle attack around your build processes. So it's really validated what we're trying to do and what the problems that we're solving for developers.
Great. I know you've had some announcement recently. Tell us a little bit about kind of what's new and what people can take advantage of.
Yes. So again, with the OMB memorandum since last year, there's now defining who, what, when in terms of what the government agencies need to do for when they're consuming their software and using software from their vendors. So we built some capabilities to be able to be compliant around that, being the safe harbor. So there's the SBOM, which we've had for quite some time now, and now we're introducing provenance attestation based on the In-Toto framework, using the SALSA framework as well. So we are doing an early access program for that. We want to get some feedback from our users, from our developers, and so that we can continue to enhance that and continue to solve the problem and the pain points around that area. So we have that. So please go on ActiveState.com and sign up on our early access program for that. And then there's also, following that is the containerization, being able to deploy your runtime environment, the trusted runtime environment built by the platform via containers, Docker images specifically. So we're looking to get some feedback around that. How do you want it from a Docker image perspective? Is it distroless? Do you want a local container registry and so forth? So want to get more feedback around that area as well.
So are you actually then building the containers based on what the elements are that
exactly
that a developer wants in their Docker container?
Exactly.
Okay.
So from them specifying the base image, and then building the container with the open source dependencies that you need in order to deploy your software.
Just think about the attestation, the verification of having that record, that kind of chain of custody about how that got created.
Yes.
That's all part of that, not having to do any work when it comes to providing the attestation or information or verification of, it's no guesswork. We know exactly what happened.
That's right. And, there's many tools out there also to produce the SBOM, produce your provenance attestation. But a lot of those are on your proprietary code. What we provide is the ability to do the same exact thing, but on your open source dependencies, because we do build it from source, and we can provide that full end-to-end provenance attestation as well as your VSA attestation.
Yeah, you really do know what's in that open source, because it's usually just one project. It's built on a number of different sources of open source.
Exactly, and it's turtles all the way down, right? So building your direct dependencies all the way down to transitive dependencies, down to the native libraries such as your C libraries and so forth. So we build everything that make up your binary from source.
I'm curious, when a developer uses Active State, is there sort of an aha moment? Is there a point where they start to use the technology and go, oh, okay, this is actually really helpful, or I get what this will do for me?
Yes.
What's that experience like?
So a couple of things where we see the aha moment. One is when they realize, oh, I have a reproducible environment now, right? So for example, you've got a developer coming into the team. They need to set up their environment with all of the dependencies and so forth before they can start hitting the ground running. Well, guess what? Instead of spending 2-3 weeks setting up your environment, now we've got the runtime environment for you that's reproducible, and you can continue to enhance it and allow for collaboration between among the team members. And then there's some audit trail in their history. So, we've married their solution with Git as a model, so that you can go back in time and see, okay, who added this dependency and so forth. So we have a lot of that mechanism in place already. So that's one. And the other one is being able to not have to kind of have that leap of faith of, pulling your dependencies from a public repository, but, oh, wow, there's actually a solution out there, a platform where I can pull down my dependencies. I know it's vetted. I know it's been built. There's no attack vectors from a build perspective that can happen. So they can see that, and so our security leads are starting to take notice of that as well, and providing again the audit trail and the software attestations around it. So I think that's the other aha moment. I guess I'll add the third one, which is really about being able to, from a developer's perspective, building your dependencies across a different stack or a different operating system. And every software out there is going to be composed of different languages and so forth, and we support that multi-language, multi-operating systems. So
seems like it's one more thing that they can say, now I can check that off for the security team or the audit organization, or I got my open source nailed down, know where it's from, what's in it, how to address it if we have an issue, but we know we're getting it from a trusted source, so it's done that work for us.
Yeah.
Curious, so maybe turn our attention to not our first time at RSA, right?
Yeah.
Things have changed. We've gone through some years where we didn't get together for a little while. We kind of started that back up last June, I guess it was, and this year feels a little closer back to kind of full force RSA. You have that sense too?
I do. Since the pandemic, especially, but now it's finally looking like normal, and it's great to be able to talk to different stakeholders, different roles, different titles, and so forth, and being out there again in person. So I love it.
It's interesting too that we've kind of been anticipating that software being part of the conversation of security at RSA, where it's been, of course, very traditional, network security focused on all the elements of that, but it is very much software and software development and application security, very much part of the conversation now with a lot of different companies.
Yeah, I mean, almost every company is building software, right? And I think, making sure that they're secure, regardless of whether it's an internal software or external, especially at the enterprise level, is becoming top of mind. And secure software supply chain is definitely, I've seen a lot, even in this conference already. So. Great.
Well, I hope you have a fantastic conference and a great DevOps Connect DevSecOps Day.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you finally in person.
It is. It is so nice to now I feel like I do really know you. Yes, I know you from our Zoom connection, but it's nice to meet in person. So, Lorelei, thank you. Yeah. Lorelei Catapan, who is VP of Product with Active State. be sure and check out their website. If you're a developer, they've got a lot of things that you can jump right into and see how it works and test drive it, kind of kick the tires yourself. And of course, if you're here at RSA, there's still better part of a half a day left of DevOps Connect. It's in room 308 on Moscone South in Active States, one of the key sponsors there. So thank you for sponsoring it, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll be back. We said we had great guests. Here you go. We're delivering. We will see you back here at RSA in just a few minutes. Be sure and check out some of our other videos that we have on Techstrong TV and great content with DevOps.com, Security Boulevard, etc. We'll be back in a few.
DevOps.com is the #1 online destination for DevOps education and community building. DevOps.com covers all aspects of DevOps, including DevOps best practices and tools, DevOps culture, DevSecOps, business impact, continuous testing, continuous delivery, and more. DevOps.com has the largest collection of original DevOps content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.devops.com to learn more. DevOps.com, where the world meets DevOps. DevOps.com. SecurityBoulevard.com is the leading resource for news, analysis, and education on challenges facing the cybersecurity industry. SecurityBoulevard.com covers all aspects of cybersecurity, including data security, DevSecOps, cloud security, application security, network security, security threats, and more. SecurityBoulevard.com has the largest selection of security content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.securityboulevard.com to learn more. SecurityBoulevard.com, home of Security Bloggers Network.
Discover the cutting-edge insights of our new show, AI Times, a series that explores the limitless potential of artificial intelligence. Sponsored by the AI Infrastructure Alliance, the AI Times is at the forefront of the AI revolution, tackling the crucial questions of how we can leverage AI for the betterment of humanity. Stay ahead of the curve as this show delves into all things surrounding AI, including trends, pressing concerns, and the positive impact AI is making around the globe. AI Times. Your DevOps adventure starts here. At DevOps On-Ramp 23, you'll find everything you need to get started with DevOps. Best practices, processes, and tools. Tips and tricks from experienced practitioners sharing their real-world experiences. This virtual event will provide you with the roadmap to a successful DevOps career and the opportunity to get hands-on experience. The rush has started. Don't be left behind. Join us on May 4th, 2023.
Hiring great DevOps and cyber talent is a huge challenge for technical teams. Cloud transformation is driving demand higher. You've tried doing it yourself. Job boards, LinkedIn, didn't work. Recruiters are an option, but who do you trust and not waste your time and money? Recruit Ops is the new way to source engineering talent. From Media Ops, the people behind DevOps.com, Security Boulevard, Container Journal, and more. We sit right in the middle of the hottest positions in Dev, Sec, and Ops, and the brightest minds in the field. If you're looking for a great position or the talent to fill it, we can help you. Trust us, risk-free.
welcome back to RSAC here in San Francisco, RSAC 2023. We're in Moscone West in our broadcast alley booth with Techstrong interviewees, conversationalists, people that are speaking, talking, all kinds of great folks, which I do have the pleasure of being joined by another one of our great folks who are on today, Dipan Desai, who is head of Global CISO and head of your research and operations organization at Zscaler. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's a lot of things to do in one company. So introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do there and what Zscaler does.
Sure. So Dipan Desai, I'm the Global CISO and head of security research. As part of my job, I'm responsible for making sure the global Zscaler cloud infrastructure and products are secured. And then I also have a team of global security experts that's tracking threat landscape. And the goal over there is to make sure we're adding detection intelligence to our platform and protect thousands of organizations globally.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. What's your background? Curious too. How do you come to the security industry?
Yeah, I've been in the security industry since the beginning. So it's been almost 20 years now. Always been on the vendor side of the house, building products, building newer detection technologies, and always on the security side of the house.
Well, that's comforting being the global CISO that you've got all that expertise and experience bringing with you to know. Yeah, you have to have the best security yourself. Customers are counting on it from you.
Yes.
So talking about the threat landscape, you all just issued a 2023 report about that. So tell us a little bit about the report. It's an annual thing that you do. And maybe just to start off with, what were some of the themes that came out of it?
Right, so we just published, as of last week, our annual phishing report. We do this every year. So as part of this report, the Threat Labs team, the security research arm, took a look at the entire 2022 security events, campaigns that we saw out there. And these were campaigns mostly targeting enterprises and different industry verticals. So what we saw was phishing attacks continue to rise. We saw about 47.2% increase in 2022 compared to the year before. Phishing, as everyone knows, is the starting point. Many of the attacks these days are multi-stage attacks. Gone are the days where they will just send a malware binary in the email and pop you. This is the stage one where after they've done the recon, they know who they're going after. That's where the phishing attacks come in. And we've seen a lot of evolution in the tools, tactics, procedures that these cyber criminals are using in order to make these phishing attacks successful.
Interesting. I wonder, what are some of the reasons why we see this increase? Obviously, because it works, right? If it didn't work, they wouldn't do it. But why is it working more frequently? Where are we more susceptible to click on something or catch a smishing attack on text?
Right. So there are multiple reasons. I'll start with a couple areas where we saw a lot of success, and then the technology that the bad guys are using to make these attacks successful as well. So all in all, we saw Microsoft properties being one of the top most targeted properties in terms of getting access to the credentials. So think of Office 365, OneDrive, SharePoint. The second one was the crypto exchange Binance. That was another one that they went after. And the goal over here is once they are able to get those credentials, they're then able to perform financial scam, they're able to perform data theft by logging into these enterprise accounts. And also use it to perform stage 2, stage 3 attacks, right? Phishing attacks don't stop just with credential theft. It leads to the next stage attacks. In many of the cases, it will lead to things like ransomware and info stealer getting planted inside the environment. Now, the reason why we're seeing a lot of these attacks becoming more successful, like back in the days, we used to tell our users, hey, look at the padlock sign, all right, in your browser. Make sure you're visiting the site. Don't click on links that appear from someone that you don't know, unsolicited emails. What we see now is these folks are leveraging, the cloud storage service providers, like whether it's Microsoft OneDrive or Dropbox or Google or AWS. they take advantage of the wildcard certificates that these popular vendors offer for the storage service. So the phishing page is hosted over there. If you look at that green padlock sign, it will be all good. It will have a wildcard cert issued by one of these Azure or GCP. And then the pages are very, very sophisticated. Like they're leveraging AI, ML to generate some of these pages automatically and at scale. And once the user falls for it, we're now seeing the threat actors also able to bypass things like multi-factor authentication. I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Now, why is this problem growing? The number one reason is the advent of phishing as a service. There are a lot of phishing kits, open source, commercial, that are now being offered as a service. So you don't really need to know everything in order to conduct these large-scale attacks. You just subscribe to one of these as a service model, and you have off-the-shelf things already set up for you. You just put in the target, and then you have a control panel where you can log in, and all the victim information is at your fingertip.
It really is a business, essentially. We had a gentleman on who does, after the incidents is happening, he was talking about how many of these kits, it's not just kits, go download something, it's like there's even support for some of the phishing kits and other attack tools that you can use. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it makes sense why it's gotten to that point, but yeah, I'm not sure. I wish we weren't here, but we are, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, some of the, if I may, there are a couple case studies that I'll talk about. Number one, and this was sad, concerning, but they were going after folks that are getting laid off. And that was one of the scams that Threat Labs team discovered in March timeframe. Job scams are not new, but these attacks that we discovered were specifically targeting tech industry vertical where folks were being laid off. And they will go to those employees with a job position that some of the other companies have live on their site. And the end goal over here is to scam them. Right? They're getting all their PII information, and they will also ask them to pay money to ship IT equipments, offer training and stuff like that. So that was one. The second one, and this was very, very targeted in nature, is where we saw a combination of smishing, which is phishing being delivered over SMS, and vishing, which is voicemail phishing, right? So what we saw was a lot of execs, I'm giving an interview right now, right? I'm like, hey, this is Deepan Desai. They will take that voice snippet, or they could even use AI/ML to generate that. They will then make a call to the victim. So you are the victim they're trying to phish. They will make a call to you, and they will use that snippet, hey, this is Deepan Desai, and then they will cut it off. So you will get a voicemail with my real voice. That's sort of an authentication, right, they're trying to do. And then they will follow it up with text messages where they will say, hey, I'm having a bad network issue over here. Can you do X, Y, and Z? And that's where they scam the end user.
They don't even have to go to do a deep fake.
Exactly.
They just steal our own voice.
Exactly.
Interesting. So let's talk a little bit about, obviously we need to do some things differently to be able to defend ourselves against ourselves and our customers, our users. What are some of the new things we can do now or need to start doing?
So I'm sure everyone's been hearing about zero trust. It's been used and abused is what I'll call it. But honestly, the answer over here is two things. One is you need to have a zero trust architecture implemented, and I'll explain what that entails. That's number one, zero trust architecture. Number two is continuous security awareness training as well, because you need to let the end user know, and at times you should have an architecture that allows you to train the user at the time they're about to make that mistake. So you get a link, you click on the link, the architecture should prompt the user that they're about to visit something that's not Office 365, right? That's very, very important. Zero trust architecture, the way when I talk to security leaders, I always ask them, hey, it's a journey, right? It's not like a flip of a switch and you're now zero trust. There are four major buckets that you should look at. Number one is what are you doing to eliminate your external attack surface or reduce your external attack surface? The attackers go after things that are exposed to the internet, right, when they're planning an attack. Number two is, do you have consistent security controls in place to prevent compromise, no matter where your employees or users are, whether they're inside the office, traveling, or working from home, which is the era we're living in.
That's our world today, yeah.
Hybrid environment. Number three is, what is your blast radius? There will be attacks that will be successful, whether it's phishing or any other attack. You need to have a true zero trust architecture implemented, which will have segmentation that will prevent and contain the threat on the asset where it successfully managed to compromise. So no lateral propagation should be allowed. And that's really the difference between an incident and an org-wide breach when you have proper architecture implemented. And then finally, they're all after your data. Right? Even phishing attacks, once they have your credentials, they're going to steal your information. So you need to have a consistent data loss prevention scanning enabled with full TLS inspection for anything that egresses your endpoints, your assets, your server environment, your cloud workloads. That's important. So eliminate external attack surface, prevent compromise, prevent lateral movement, and prevent data exfiltration.
And
That's
you mentioned TLS workload, like everything's encrypted now. So yes, we want that little padlock, that simple, moniker up there for end users to know that it's encrypted, but that also means we don't have visibility into the stream unless
you perform TLS inspection. And that's where Zscaler helps thousands of organizations. You need a cloud native proxy-based architecture where you're terminating the connection in the cloud. You're making a connection on behalf of the user.
Or not, this year has a much bigger energy, bigger vibe, I think.
A lot of good activity, good talks. By the way, I was
going to ask you, you're doing a talk, right?
I'm doing a talk as well on, and it's actually focused around phishing, how threat actors are able to bypass multi-factor authentication. We're actually going to do a live demo. Hopefully
fantastic.
demo gods are with us, but there will be a demo of how adversary in the middle attacks are being executed in the wild. But coming back to there are a lot of good topics. I think public cloud security will remain at the top. Insider threat is another one that's actually a priority for me as well for securing our environment. And then the third is OpenAI, the ChatGPT, right? How are you going to harness the power of large language models? We're doing a lot of stuff in Zscaler as well to make things efficient, help with threat detection, and also help our customers, right? Where they're able to make better decisions. But at the same time, how to do it more securely. You're seeing reports of companies inadvertently leaking proprietary information because they don't understand how these things function. Right? So I think that will be another one to watch out for.
I think too, maybe it's already happening, but just like we can generate code through ChatGPT, we could generate phishing kits and code to do all that. It's going to become easier.
Generate malware, so, exactly, yes.
Well, good luck on your talk and your demo. That's great. People love demos, love to see something working.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to stop by and talk to us about the report. Folks can download it at the Zscaler site, correct?
Yes, so you guys can go to research.zscaler.com, and that's where phishing report will be available to download. We also publish our research on anything new that we discover, right? And these are not Me Too blogs. These will always be something that's new and unique, where we have perspective in terms of what TTPs were observed in these campaigns.
Yeah, it's great. When you have a research team like you do, you can do that. You don't have to republish other people's blogs. Well, thank you, Deepan. This has been great. And again, good luck with your talk, and thanks for coming by. Deepan Desai, who is Global CISO and head of the research and operations at Zscaler. Again, we say we have fantastic guests, another perfect example, and we appreciate you sharing with us. We'll be right back. Don't go away. If you are here at RSAC, go out and over and check out the DevOps Connect DevSecOps session happening in Moscone South on 308. And a lot of good stuff happening there too. And look up Deepan's session on Thursday. Take care. We'll be back.
Thank you.